And welcome back to this week's episode of the GWC podcast. I'm your host this week, Joe, joined as always by Zach, Austin, and Andrew. Have a lot to talk about after the old hot Atlanta this week. So we'll go ahead and hop right into that. Willie B with his fourth race win of the year, rain shortened win, weather impacting yet another race in NASCAR. So, death taxes and rained out races. So, boys, what do we think right off the cusp with Atlanta?
Best racetrack on the calendar. I think we just had the two best racetracks back to back. So
we have had two bangers in a row.
That's a take.
I mean, they were two banger races. That's not the joke part. But I thought it was a great race.
I'm really fucking annoyed.
I have my reasons as to why I think it's a great race. But Zach, why are you annoyed?
Because he hates both of them.
I was supposed to hate both of them, and I ended up loving both of them, and I'm so pissed off about it.
Seriously, that's me as well. I mean, why are they good?
Yeah,
like no joke. Like, I mean, I don't races of the year. I don't know. I think that's a discussion, but I think races of the year for their respective categories, absolutely. So, like,
I agree.
Best road course so far this year, Chicago, hands down. Best super speedway race, fucking Atlanta.
Yeah.
And just how much that pissed me off when they reconfigured it, but I mean, it was so good. It was like an old Daytona race. I was complaining about how random it was, and how you don't see, guys who can really handle the car and deal with the draft and that kind of stuff. You saw that. You saw Brad
100%.
Keselowski, who's so good at play tracks. We know that, being able to work through the field. You saw Christopher Bell, who I think is probably a somewhat underrated plate racer. He worked through the field twice because he started in the back, he worked his way up to, like, I don't know, 6th or 5th, got a penalty, had to do it all over again. So you could pass guys that knew what they were doing, knew how to move the car around. They were able to do it. It was awesome, and I'm mad.
I love that you saw guys, with poor handling cars having to fight it and struggling. It's I mean, it's like you said, the old Daytona when it was really slick and you saw guys doing that. I mean, it was great, and it really excites me for maybe in the future when we get this track not as a super speedway, but just the normal package. I think it could put on some really good shows.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Zach. I just wanted to hate these last two races, and here we are. And I think it's whatever pavement they repaved with apparently is supposed to age in faster, and maybe that was part of it, because I feel like the first few Atlanta races were kind of crappy. But this race, like I said, they had to handle their cars, and if you didn't have handling, you, like Bowman, he lost it and wrecked Denny and took himself out. So I do wish they would have practice at Atlanta. Maybe some things get figured out, but I did think it was a good race.
Yeah,
I think with the poor handling cars, maybe they will add at least some practice.
They have to.
There should be no tracks we don't have at least 30 minutes. I mean,
I absolutely, at least to shake down your car and make sure everything is
going all over again.
Exactly. So, but yeah, so the hot topic on the Twitters for this race was the decision. I guess not the decision to call for rain, because obviously it ended up raining a lot, and that was the right call. But how we got there, they paraded the cars around for like 30 minutes, and while it was starting to rain, and we could have got more racing in. What do we think about that whole? I don't even know what to call it. The whole rain
the end
stuff.
of the race.
Yes, the end of the race. Yes, how it's handled.
I think people are mostly mad just because it's Hendrick. People like to get mad about Hendrick. Anytime something sort of goes Hendrick's way, everybody likes to be mad about favoritism, and I buy into it. I got mad. I was annoyed. But I was mainly annoyed because Kyle was working his way up there. He got to P5, and you just wanted to see more. It was so good. I didn't want it to end. It's fun to go along with the meme of Hendrick's favoritism and stuff like that. Do I think this was? No. I don't know what you do. I get NASCAR's position, I guess. I mean, we did shit on them really hard after Daytona last year.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I don't know. What do you want them to do? Risk it again and get shit on again? So it's It is what it is.
I think there's sometimes I feel like people expect perfection from a lot of this stuff. Like NASCAR needs to know exactly what to do. They need to do the exact perfect thing. They need to know the future. Essentially, they need to know that this amount of rain's coming, and they need to know to go ahead and call it and not wait it out or whatever. Like to me, it's just the expectation's too high. And NASCAR's made great improvements from what we saw before with Daytona, where there's rain in one, everyone's crying like, "Oh, why didn't NASCAR call it sooner?" Now they call it sooner. Maybe do some parade laps. Okay, whatever. But like they still called it sooner. They made the right call to bring them under caution, see how bad the rain was, whatever. I mean, to me, it's a better call than before, and it's an improvement. There's no way to know exactly the future, so I think they did a great job with what they had, and people just expect too much.
I agree.
Yeah.
Not too much like they expect better, just they expect the impossible almost.
I mean, I hated it at the time. It was one of those things like, oh great, they're just gonna run 20 laps under caution, call the race, Byron's the winner. But reality, it was the right call. You don't like to see it though. I guess you want it to end under green flag. You're not going to get that obviously, but the rain was coming. Everybody knew it. Again, it's just like the week before we knew it was coming. But yeah, they made the right call.
I agree. Yeah, in the end, they made the right call. I guess it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Now with NASCAR, but yeah, obviously I liked it because William won. I obviously am the Hendrick guy of this group, so I won't hide that. But yeah, interesting. And I saw too some stuff on Twitter that people are, oh, like start it back at 12:30 because the rain will be over, and you have one that's like, why would you like? It's if it was Saturday night maybe, but it's Sunday night. You got to get the teams home. What was NASCAR's trigger quick on calling a race? Yeah, but I mean, you saw the radar. It was terrible. It was going to be raining for a zillion hours. So, yeah. So also big McDowell saved by the rain there. I know Austin's very happy about that. He was on fumes. There he is.
Yeah. Sorry guys, I'm making pretzels, so I'm running back and forth. But yeah, I mean, had that race gone green, he had it in the bag. I think we can all agree with that. That was an easy win for McDowell if that goes green. So I'm mad about the rain shortage, but I mean, another great turnout for McDowell, man. What a guy! What a guy on those super speedways.
And in the playoffs now,
he's 16th in the playoffs. Yeah, he's 3 points up on Bubba, so he's making moves.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
in the bubble. I mean, what a guy. I mean, I think their strategy calling. I think they've had crew chief changes and stuff too, but I think that there's been a lot of improvements on their strategy calls. Like there were some times, like just a few seasons back, where it was just like, what are we doing? Like what's this call? And had the race gone a little bit farther, probably would have been saying the same thing. Well, I don't know, because either way I've been like, that's a great call. Like why not get some track position here? So I don't know. I think that I think it's been a great season for him so far. I hope it continues because it's been cool to see him. Be super cool to see him get in the playoffs on points, not just his obviously
win.
The Daytona 500 win, which as much as I love McDowell, I mean that's I hate you're always gonna get those guys in the playoffs. They kind of like, well, should they really be here? I think that's everyone's thoughts whenever McDowell was up there, because that car just at least, especially then, was not up to snuff to be anywhere near the playoffs. But now they got a little more in it. I feel like him being up there isn't as much as a waste of a pick. It's about like him getting in on points. I think would be super cool to see. If he can get in that way. Obviously, a win would be pretty sick too, but points in would be just a testament to how far that team's come.
Yeah, and we got speaking of points, obviously William is leading by it looks like 21. You got William, Kyle, MTJ, and Ross, the top four playoff points wise at least. But it was a fun race overall. I'm excited for, I believe, we have New Hampshire next week. We'll get to that in a little bit. But any last Atlanta thoughts before we move on?
Move on, all right. Well, we got to talk about Xfinity. We didn't talk about the Xfinity race.
Well, I was out for a minute, I know, but I had my ears on. But did we? The one thing, if we were to talk about this, let me just shut up. But Did
You
we
can
talk
just
about? Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I
Anyway, do we think that race would have been as exciting had it not been rain shortened?
I think
Did we
we were.
cover
Yeah,
that?
we didn't talk about that. No, but that was something we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, because I want to hear y'all's thoughts.
Well, just kind of piggyback on Drake's thought. Do we think shortened races in general are the way to go? Because that was also a topic.
think
this week.
my take, well, not necessarily, well, kind of on this front, but like for this race specifically, everyone's like, oh, would that have, like Austin asked, would that race have been as exciting if it had gone full length? I think you probably get a little more like calmness single file, but the end is still going to be crazy regardless at that kind of racetrack. Shortened races, I can agree that some need to be shortened. Obviously not going to shorten Daytona 500, Coke 600, like the big boys. I do agree that you can shorten some, just because, especially new fans aren't going to be like really willing to sit down for 4 hours and watch a random Pocono race or whatever, right? As opposed to maybe they watched most of the 600, but I think you can shorten a few of them. I know they've been trying to do that with the Spring Martinsville race, I think.
So I'd like to just let everybody know this is Joe's last podcast. He won't be joining us.
Got kicked off last week. He's just coming in here to say his goodbyes.
Oh yeah,
it's official now.
Hey, I'm just saying for a couple. I'm not saying for all. Like, obviously,
I think our races are solid. I think tracks that are a mile and a half or bigger, 400 miles is the sweet spot.
I agree.
I think with your exceptions, like your Daytona 500 and your Southern 500, your Coke 600, but everything else, 400 miles is a sweet spot. There might be an argument for Pocono because that is a little longer. How many miles is a current Pocono race? I don't even know. Is it 400?
I think so. I think it's 4.
I don't know.
I'll check.
That might be a long. That might be a little long for Pocono, but just because the corners are so slow, the speeds aren't as high. Is it?
Yeah.
I wonder what the time is. That's probably the only one that comes to mind that I think I'd be willing to knock back a little bit. But I mean, we've already been through this. We already knocked races back. I mean, it used to be back in the day, every race was 500 miles, and now they cut it back. And I think 400 is a good amount. I mean, you still want a lengthy race for your Premier Cup Series. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Are you going to start selling tickets cheaper if you make the race shorter? I don't think they did that the last time they shortened races. If you cut, the argument was make this 300 miles. So you're going to sell tickets for 25% off because it's 25% off the race. I think you devalue the ticket, and then along with, you do that, and then also all the practice we don't get anymore. It's just like this constant movement to less and less on-track product. Like I don't like that.
And
I like what the longer races bring us with strategy, especially with stages and how stages mix up strategy. Like right now, really your only strategy stage is stage 3. Everybody does the same thing in stage 1 and 2. And then they even do pretty much the same thing in 3. So like you might not see green flag pit stops ever. Like we could pretty easily go through a race now and not see green flag pit stops. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm not in favor of shortening races. I don't think they make it any more exciting. I think the thing that really had an effect on the race was the weather, because they didn't know when it was going to end. It could end this lap or it could end in 30 laps. They didn't know, so they had to be on the wheel every single lap. So shortening the race is irrelevant. It's what they're racing to that they didn't know, and that's what cranked things up.
So I'll back you up. So I just looked through the schedule. So you have obviously your crown jewels, your Coke 600, Daytona 500, Southern 500. The only other 500-mile races are the 2 Talladegas, and I just had it. I think that's it. Yeah, the 2 Talladegas, and that's it. So
I'd even be willing to knock a Talladega down to 400 miles.
Yeah, maybe like the spring one.
I'd even give you both. Honestly, I don't care. I'll give you both.
Yeah. It's going to be a single. It's going to be a single lane train. The whole.
I mean,
the stage 3. So
the Daytona, was 4th of July race, whatever it is now, August.
400. Yeah.
It's always been 400. That race has always been fine. So 400 miles at Talladega, I don't hate it. I mean, maybe give them one 500-mile. That's fine.
But bring the Brickyard back to keep it 400.
Yeah, jeez. It depends on how the cars race, I guess. But keep it 400. Yeah.
think you kind of have to.
Yeah,
you
you
have
do.
to.
For that race
Then
to
you
be
make-
any, for that race to be any good, you kind of have to.
Well, I think then I don't know, Indy 500 and Brickyard 250. Like it just sounds. And then what are you gonna do with your other series? Are you gonna make your other series shorter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
That's
because now if you make your Cup race
They're
like
already
300 miles,
faster and you know.
here's an idea. How about we make cars faster that the 400-mile race doesn't take as long?
That's a good point.
there you go. More horsepower, easy.
I think my general thing is agreeing with Zach of, shorten. The race wasn't exciting necessarily because it was shorter, is because they didn't know when it was going to end. I think that always causes a huge excitement. So what I'm proposing is they don't even tell the drivers how long the race is going to be.
There you go.
They just
Random number.
randomly throw a caution and race is over. You know, I think that's the best way to handle it going forward.
I had a funny thought about that. Like the last 50 laps to go, that's the race can end at any point.
I was thinking about that too,
ideas.
because I'm like, they would hire a stats guy, and they would like run the numbers, figure out the trends of like when they like when they randomize and find something out to get an idea. I think that would be.
Oh my God.
that'd be crazy.
Can you imagine Twitter?
The fuel strategies too? Like some guys would bank on it being shorter to gain track position. Some would if it went the whole 50, there'd be like one guy who makes it on fuel, like Austin Dillon.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, pretty cool, huh?
Can you imagine Twitter when they randomly end it while Chase is leading?
Oh
yeah,
my God.
I didn't even think about that.
You are banned.
That's 5 races in a row. Chase Elliott's won.
It's weird. He's just in the right place at the right time.
We said it happened the last 50 laps, but they had it 300. I'm
Hilarious.
team don't shorten. The only way maybe I'd be okay with it is if we mentioned, or Zach mentioned, we lost qualifying and all that, and the fans are getting less and less. So why are we going to shorten the race to give them even less? Maybe we try the twin sprints again, kind of like we did in 2020, where we have a Saturday and a Sunday race.
Yeah, doubleheader.
Give them 300 on Saturday, 300 on Sunday.
I like what they did at Pocono. That was a great weekend.
Yeah. But
Zach, you want to talk about Seabell?
no,
No.
Survivor pick.
Survivor pick.
Oh yes, that's true. We'll get to that later. But yeah,
but-
so
So according to a couple of spotters, they were saying that they'd like to see it shortened. And I mean, if they want to shorten the races, I mean, if they shorten it 25%, maybe the spotters should make 25% less. I think I'm on board with that.
Especially for
start cutting their money.
a few certain spotters, but yeah.
I don't know. My favorite tweet was I saw somebody. Let me see if I can find it real quick because I retweeted it. But it seems like people in the industry, like nobody hates racing more than people that work in NASCAR.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
Oh yeah, especially
That's
that
sort of
one
the
guy.
gist.
Spotter Bert loves NASCAR.
Yeah, that actually is the tweet. Nobody hates racing more than the people that actually work in it. It's just, I don't know. Them guys just complain more and more, and they're irritating me more. Like, I used to hate TJ Majors. I thought he was a shilly douchebag, but he's now my favorite, and the other two drive me nuts.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. TJ's always been somewhat level-headed compared to anyone's level-headed compared to the other two, but yeah, I've enjoyed TJ.
One of them's not even a spotter anymore.
Exactly.
I know. Why are you on a spotter podcast if you're not even a spotter? And I feel like his know-it-allness has turned up a lot since retiring.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's because he started Couch Racer. He's got a little bit of money now, and he thinks he's a fucking god. He's a fucking douche.
Well, he's like kind of overcompensate because he's not actually at the track anymore, so he has to I don't know.
Yeah.
Compensate for that. It's just driving me fucking nuts.
Yeah. Well,
he's gone clickbaity too, which makes it even worse.
Absolutely. So Xfinity, I admittedly did not watch that race, but
really, there's only one thing I want to talk about Xfinity, and that is Justin Haley and the Daniel Hemrick situation at the end. I just thought it was funny because it was like the last caution or one before, something like that. Like towards the end, Justin Haley's talking to a spotter and says, "Hey, tell Chandler Smith that the most important thing here is a colleague win. We got to get one for the team. Stay behind me." And then first thing he does when getting a restart behind Daniel Hemrick is bail on him. Then he has the balls to say, "Oh, I ran out of gas." I've never seen a car run out of gas and pass a car at the same time. That's wild.
Yeah.
So it was just really funny. And I saw a bunch of people like retweeting like a Kyle Busch moment where he's like talking about, "You dumb fucker, like if you if you would just stay in line with me, we could have both had a chance to win, but because you tried to pass me, we
Yeah.
both lost."
Who was
It
that?
was like that.
Vickers and Kyle Busch?
The pictures I'm seeing was Bush and Junior.
Really?
I thought
Yeah.
it was Bowman at a Daytona 500 like dual race. It might have been a
I
lot.
don't know. It might have happened more than once.
For some reason, Bowman comes to mind with Kyle on that. But yeah, I don't know, dude. That's
I
interesting.
was saying Vickers or Allgaier.
I don't know. The pictures I saw on the Twitter were with Junior.
Oh,
Interesting. But yeah, and then just real quick to touch on trucks, we have 2 more races left, Pocono and Richmond, before their playoffs, and they got quite a playoff level. They got 4 drivers within 5 points of the 10th spot for the playoffs. They got Matty D's 5 points up, Sanchez is 2 points up, and Crafton is 1 point up, with Friesen being a point back. So that'll be a fun last 2 races with those 4. Ty Majeski is all but locked in. He's 95 points up, so he'd have to really, I think, finish last, and maybe even then he'd still be in. But it'll be interesting to keep your eye on the truck races. But Fox still does those races, so maybe not.
I still think it's a huge missed opportunity that they don't do a like regular season conclusion at Daytona with all 3 series.
Absolutely, I'm shocked.
Like,
I thought they did one year.
I don't
Did they
know.
not?
I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Like you have the Daytona 500, like you have Daytona week where all 3 series kick off the season at the same week. Have the end of the regular season at Daytona. You know, it ends where it started with all 3 series, and it could just be an amazing weekend. And then you have all 3 series finish up at Phoenix. Like it's like these big monumental milestones throughout the season.
Run them at the same time too.
Run them at the
Multi-class.
same time.
Yeah.
Why not?
multi-class, I'm in.
Sounds like a plan.
What a shit show that would be.
Oh God, that would be.
What if Xfinity cars were faster than Cup? That'd be funny.
They would be, is the best part.
I don't know what they are in the draft. I don't know what the
Hey,
draft.
I was gonna say they might add a bigger restrictor plate.
If that's what gets us more HP in Cup cars, I'm all for it.
I don't think anything's gonna get us more horsepower.
I do.
Hybrid.
Hybrid baby, it's coming.
Yeah, that's
Heard it here first.
But yeah, so that's all that happened at Atlanta. We do have a couple noteworthy news items that came out over the weekend. So it was announced, I believe, yesterday that Corey LaJoie will be back with Spire on a multi-year deal. So that is interesting. I personally think it's good for him. Good to see he has some longevity, but I'd love to hear y'all's takes on that.
I was surprised that the owner of Spire came out and said they're not looking to sell the other charter; they're looking to buy. That kind of shocked me that they could go 3 cars.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. I missed this. Who's doing what? Spire's buying. Who are they buying?
They didn't say. They said they are not selling the 77 charter. They are looking to purchase.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do they lease that charter right now, or do they own that? I forget.
Really good question. Maybe they're trying to purchase a 77. I don't know, but that's what they said.
Let me
But I guess why would they comment on selling it? I guess if they don't own it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Let me see here.
I mean, Ty Dillon's not going to be in it next year.
Who else is?
That.
Oh,
I don't know. If they were smart, they'd go and get some Xfinity guy that's in a Ford. One of the fast guys.
So I think if I'm reading Jayski's site right, it says the 77 was sold to the 16 colleague in 22. And then the 7 charter was moved to the 77, but who? And the 53 was sold to the 7. Okay, so they still own.
They still own 2.
Yeah, they still own 2. Okay, so I don't know. I guess if they want to try and get a Rick Ware charter, I don't know if I think we've talked about this before. Maybe Stewart House going to 3 and leasing out one while they fix their shit because they're bad. But who knows? We'll hopefully see more info about that coming out soon. But I love that for Corey. I guess there's really no. We want him to get a higher ride, but where is that going to be? Realistically,
again, would you rather him be at Spire, which seems to be on the way up, or would you rather him go to SHR, which is on the way down?
yeah, exactly. And all the top Chevy rides are pretty locked in. GMS is going to Toyota, so there goes 2 cars. So yeah, not much options there, but the 7 is very good this year. So we'll hopefully all the way up to the moon for them. And then we had we kind of knew it all along, but it's official that Anheuser-Busch is going to the 1 car next year, leaving from Kevin Harvick. So that is confirmed. Maybe we get some watermelon beer out of it. Who knows? But that's pretty big for Ross and Trackhouse.
I'm ready for the drunk driving memes that are going to come from it.
I just think it's a missed opportunity to, Kyle Busch and the Busch.
Hell yeah. God damn, you're right.
I mean, that's a selling point, but hey, it is what it is. Good for Ross, good for Trackhouse. I think that
Justin Marks, man.
Yeah, I think that's going to really put Trackhouse on, or help him out next year, and as a top tier team from now on. It's a lot of money.
What do we think? So Hendrick's obviously the top Chevy. Are they number 2 now? Yeah, or have they been number 2?
I don't know if there is a number 2. I know there's number 1, and that's Hendrick, and I think Hendrick sort of. I mean, really, number 2 is still going to be RCR, because doesn't RCR make the engines?
Yeah, that's true.
So
I think it'll be a 2A, 2B for Chevy, but yeah, Trackhouse.
I don't know if there really is a 2. I think you got Hendrick and then everybody else.
Hendrick and then Chevy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hendrick and everyone else. That's why GMS left, because they were getting shit. So yeah. And
I think you do have key partners. You have Hendrick and Trackhouse is one, and RCR is one, and then it is just everybody else. So I mean,
yeah.
I think just a lot of decisions and stuff like that are made through Hendrick, but after that, I don't think it really matters who's 1, 2, or 3. Yeah. I think Hendrick has a lot of control in like how certain things go. If I were to guess, just making stuff up. But I think they're all sort of even. They're all supposed to help each other to some degree.
Yeah. And then we had also quick back to Atlanta. The 24 car that was Goodyear's 2,000th win, and Jeff Gordon got their 1,000th. So fun little tidbit.
What a stupid stat!
I know. I saw that. I was like, yay! Like, am I supposed to be happy for this?
Your 2,000th win competing against yourself. Right. Like, why don't you do a race count? That would be more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is our however many at the race. I mean, I would think more than 2,000th.
Yeah, I don't know. And interesting. I was like, as a Hendrick fan, I was like, okay, sure, yay.
Right.
Yeah.
A dumb accolade.
Yeah. It's like the meme where Barack is giving Barack the president
the medal treatment. Yeah.
Or the one with like everyone on the podium, and then the guy at last is like celebrating like heck, but he's like in 10th place. But yeah, that was, I was like, that's a weird stat to brag about, but pop off. And then we got only 7 regular season races left, and the cut line is very close right now. We got Suarez and McDowell 3 points up, and Bubba's 3 points back. AJ's there 13 back, and then you still have Alex and Chase. If they can snag a win, that pushes the cut line down. So we'll see. We got some good racing coming up here.
It's gonna take a win, I think.
Yeah, it's
a lot of these guys in. Like, I don't know if Chase doesn't win, he's not getting in. He's not racing his way in.
Yeah, at this point, he would have had to, I think, average like top 5, top 10. He had a couple clunkers in there, so that kind of, he's 60 points back right now. So that's tough.
Yeah, NASCAR's gonna have to really work hard to get him in.
All right.
I mean, even Bowman. I mean, he's not in it. He's sitting there 22nd. Chase is 23rd.
And he's 44 points back. So him wrecking himself out last week did not help. That's for sure.
Yeah, but
because I think he was in the cut line before he wrecked himself in Denny. So
Yeah, but yeah, Suarez, McDowell, Bubba, AJ, and yeah, they got a nice little battle going on.
Yeah, so it'll be fun to watch. Kind of some impact things there, but yeah. And then other racing news we had today. Danny Ricciardo is back in an F1 ride, taking over for Nick DeVries. So just had mention that we love Danny Rick. I love Danny
NASCAR
Rick.
fan.
So yeah, he
Yeah,
loves
big
Dale
NASCAR.
Earnhardt. So that'll be fun. We'll see if he still got it in the very okay AlphaTauri this year. I haven't really been paying much attention, but I think they're obviously it's Red Bull and everyone else, of course, but that'll be interesting to see. Although it is kind of funny they booted DeVries. Again, I don't know. Was he that much worse than Yuki during Yuki's first year? So
Or Yuki, period.
yeah, Yuki. I mean, Yuki is better than DeVries, I think.
I mean, it's
But
Formula
again,
One. We know half that stuff's political anyway, so
Money.
he probably just didn't bring
Yeah.
the
the money.
sponsorship or the money, or his dad wasn't rich enough to do it.
Yeah.
You guys are making me fall asleep. Let's talk about something else.
Well, before we really move on here, we also it sounds like we're going back to Canada next year,
Oh yeah, that just came out.
Oh, Canada.
back to Ontario.
Sorry,
So,
I'm sorry.
not official yet, but that's what it sounds like.
Well,
Yeah.
the rumor is that Sonoma is going to get put to Auto Club's date, which means
I would love that.
we get a green Sonoma.
I'm
Yes.
for it. And
Which
we've
would be pretty
mentioned it
sweet.
multiple times that we'd like to see that. So hey,
Yeah, that'd be pretty freaking sick.
But that might mean we get another road course if this Canada thing is true, which
Well, if they
no, they get
if
rid
they
of Indy
switch
Road.
Indy and put it back to
yeah,
the oval,
that's
which
true.
I
That's
I
true.
thought I heard them saying they're going to do anyway before this.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's what the drivers have been saying they want, and it seems like it's
nobody wants to race on your stupid road course.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's going to be a shit show when we go there in a couple weeks.
Last time for it. So
Yeah,
I'm all for
so
it.
I agree. So New Hampshire is this week. What are we thinking about? That's usually Ford's been pretty strong there in past years. So what are we thinking about going into New Hampshire?
I hope it don't fucking rain.
I'm checking on that. real
Why do
quick.
you say that, Zach?
It's
Something bad happened to the rain at New Hampshire one time?
Talking about the Kyle Busch thing.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. I love when he ripped that pace car bumper off. That was great.
Oh man, no, but yeah, we don't need
Can you imagine 3 races in a row? Of course, I think we do. They are going to run that short track package there, right? So we do have the potential to at least run in some sort of wetness of some kind.
yeah.
That's true.
So hopefully, I think these things could probably run in wetter conditions than what they think on the ovals, especially like the flat, low-speed corner ones. I mean,
Right.
I think they
But
could
this
probably
track
get crazy
wasn't
pretty good.
included.
I thought I heard him talking that it was. I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe it's not.
So we have for the
I think
weekend-
Phoenix wasn't.
I thought it was New Hampshire too, and Dover.
Oh, god damn it. Now I got to look it up. Where do I...
Well, quick weather update from Weatherman Joe. So pretty much all weekend it is between a 48 and 63% chance of scattered thunderstorms. So it's going to be hit or miss, and we'll get to, and then Twitter will be mad at NASCAR one way or another for how they handle it. So
Yep.
be excited for that.
Can't wait.
Will be required at Charlotte Roval, Chicago Street Course, blah, 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 Martinsville, New Hampshire, North Wilkesboro, and Phoenix. So I don't know. There was one. You're right though. There was one that should be on it that wasn't on it, but I can't remember which one it was. So remember there was one that was like, why isn't that on there?
Is Martinsville in there?
I think so.
Martinsville's on there. I
Yeah.
know it was like Bristol and Dover were really included.
Maybe it's Bristol and Dover that we thought should be on there that aren't. But
Because
I think they're both too fast for it.
yeah, that's at least why they're not doing the like package at like Dover or the short track package.
short track racing.
Well, they are
But-
pretty high. Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like a big thing with the rain tires is, or like racing in the rain at all. And the reason we can't do it on fast, high banked ovals is because, I mean, so much force pushing you out wide on those corners. So like if you're talking Bristol, that's exactly why you couldn't do it there.
Well, I think the argument is more of why don't they just run the short track package? I get why they can't run the wet weather stuff, but why don't they run the low downforce stuff? Right. Was the question. So
I'm sorry, I'm stupid.
So yeah, hopefully it don't rain. Hopefully it stays dry. But I mean, I think you want to talk about your picks with Mr. Andrew Fitzgerald down there. I think Seabell's got to be at the top of your list. I don't know what they're looking like, but he's very good at New Hampshire. He won. He is undefeated in the Xfinity car at New Hampshire. He won his truck race there. His lowest finish in Cup, with the exception of his first year in Cup with Levine Family Racing, is second. So I think he's definitely one to watch. Now, maybe they'll give him some stupid odd that doesn't really make it worth it, but
yeah, he's the favorite to win at plus 550, which that's pretty low.
Yeah,
it's not horrible though.
Yeah, so that's the question. I don't know where that is, but if you're talking like fantasy and you're doing picking a team or something like that this week, I definitely think you'd want to at least put him on there somewhere. But Eric Almirola, he's good there too. So
yep.
Bubba I was looking at Bubba last year. I think he was like second or third or something. I can't remember. He was up there. He did pretty good. So I don't know. I was checking Gluck's polls. For some reason, I wanted to look at New Hampshire and what people thought of it.
With the Gluck's polls?
I was checking them out. And New Hampshire actually scored pretty well the last couple of years. It was like
really
mid 80s. Yeah, because I remember last year, I was like, that's a pretty good race last year from what I remember. So I wanted to look, and it was like 85 or something like that. The year before was, I think, a little bit higher. I think the last year with Gen 6 was still in the 80s. So we've had like a few years of decent New Hampshire races. So I don't know. I'm kind of excited. See what we see.
Yeah. Excited for the race. And we can move into quick kill count. We had a couple. We had Bowman obviously take out himself and Dennis, and LaJoy as well for one, adding to the kill count counter. And of course, Slowey still has a commanding 4 kill lead this season.
Yep, and then welcome to the kill count.
Bowman. Do you think we can give Ross one for ramming into Ty Gibbs? Watch the replay. Watch the replay.
Right into him. That was some market breaks, but I don't know.
It was like an accident, but he full on arca braked in there.
Yeah.
And Ty Gibbs probably would have been fine until that moment.
100%. Like I had a top 10 bet for Ty Gibbs, and then I also had the survivor pick. So I'm watching. I'm like, oh, okay, he just touched him. Ross comes and nails him. I'm like, motherfucker.
He cleaned him out. So I think you can make an argument to add into it, but
yeah. So that's our quick kill count. We can hit our survivor picks.
Survivor.
Zach's department.
My department. Survivor picks. Well, this wasn't the greatest week for us, boys. Joe won with Chase, who finished 13th. That story goes downhill. Drake second with Austin Dillon, who got 21st. I had LaJoy, who was 31st, and as Andrew was saying, he had Ty, who finished 34th. So, not the great week, not the greatest week, but this is why you do them throwaway picks, because who the hell knows what's going to happen.
For some reason, I thought we had picked better, and we had some pretty great picks in there, but then I thought someone would pick like McDowell and all this stuff.
It was like the week before where we all picked really good drivers.
Yeah. And then this week, just
I keep hesitating on McDowell. I wanted to pick it. You guys all have them already picked them. I still haven't used them.
I mean, you got a good coming up.
I'm like, do I want to use them at a play track? Do I want to use them at a road course? I don't know. It's tough. I don't know when I want to use them. Of course, the week I use, really. He'll blow up lap one.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I've been kind of a curse this season to people. So, yeah.
What's the can we get a total score update?
Yeah. I was just moving over there. Score update. It's actually kind of closed up a little bit.
Has it?
No, it hasn't.
Well, me and Joe are catching up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Drake still has a
Overall split has gotten closer.
yes, but Drake is still leading at 53 because he
We're
cheats.
resetting for the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Not score, but you can
Yeah,
pick
just
everybody.
the picks. Yeah, picks are reset.
No, I think we reset Drake to 0.
No, I don't. I don't.
Yeah,
think
I agree with that one.
I don't
I like
think
it.
that makes any sense.
We'll talk about that off air. But so Drake is leading with 53, Andrew's second 47, and Joe and I are tied at 45.
We're coming, baby.
What?
What?
You're
Clip
what?
that. Oh, clip
Huh?
that one. Oh, clip that one. Oh my goodness. Y'all, we really missed
that
a
was-
couple moment earlier right before we started recording.
No, we don't. No. Huh? What?
Joe saw a giant cockroach in his room, and he's like, "Oh, that's a giant cockroach." And Zach's like, "If only we were recording and we could just cut it a little bit early."
You can't
Get rid of
say
the
those
roach
kind of
part.
things around me. You just can't.
You really
I-
can't.
I'll get it.
You got
So-
you got by clean that time, Joe. But next time, you might not be so. Well, this time you
We
weren't
got
so
ya.
lucky, so
Yeah,
still
we
came
got
back to
ya.
get you.
Yeah.
Whatever.
What was the
Whatever.
one that we already had? The he loves Kyle Busch.
Oh yeah. What was that one,
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah, I love Kyle Busch so much. I just such a big fan.
That's the one.
Yeah, we know you are.
Coming,
But
coming,
yeah,
coming.
so I got last.
yeah.
I'm gonna pick. Let's go, Kevin Harvick. I
Ooh. solid
Kevin
pick.
Harvick.
think it's my first Ford I've picked this year.
Really? Wow.
No, I did pick Brad
Oh, okay.
and Blaine.
No.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So.
Well, I'm going to go with Mr. Bubba Wallace.
Ooh.
Hopefully he can get some good luck and have a good finish there. I do think he is pretty good at New Hampshire, so
Yeah.
we'll see what old Bubba can do this week. Or I should say Freddie, because he's the one who acts like he drives the car all the time.
Yeah. I hope Freddie does well this week. For me, I can't believe I haven't picked him yet. We're gonna get a little DH action. Little Denny Hamlin.
That's a risky pick. He's been on just a heater of just ruining his races.
Not this race though, because I picked him. Just turn it around. He knows.
Yeah. So hopefully he gets that
Get it
turned around.
now.
And then I will go with. Gotta go with. Or do I have? Yeah, I'll go with
Yeah.
Seabell. That's an easy pick for me.
Wow, I thought
Yep.
you were gonna go Almirola.
I thought so too, but it was between him and Almirola. I think you can't go wrong.
I did notice
think.
not a single one of us has picked Amarola yet.
Yeah,
He's one of the
Talking
one of
about
the
that.
few cars that's like not absolute last car that no one's picked yet.
Yep.
Hilarious.
I'm just hesitant on any Ford right now, really.
Yeah.
Although,
same.
have I picked a lot of them?
Ooh.
I mean, I guess I kind of have.
Oh, there's one that I actually like for this week. No, I'm gonna save it.
Okay.
We're gonna stay.
But
You're locked in. Too late.
Yeah, too late.
Oh,
We
okay.
already picked.
Damn it! I wasn't.
all
Gonna
right. Well, well. So,
Well, while I still have a mic, I would like to give a shout out.
Ooh.
I was in NIS this week. I did the Saturday morning race and I had a pretty cool moment where two guys basically said, they appreciated the podcast, they liked the episode and stuff like that. So just shout out to Kevin Bruner and Jordan Sharplin. I think their names.
Probably should have practiced their names before you shouted them out. But
I probably should have.
Yeah.
See, this is why
Bruner and
Bruner.
gonna give their address, their social security.
yeah, if
number.
this is
Yeah.
your social, real quick, just go ahead and shoot us an OnlyFans for this week.
Yeah, I was about to say
Yeah.
you got to start telling them to submit some OnlyFans.
Well, I did the whole ad. I did a whole thing in there because there was also a few guys in there that said they would check out the podcast, and I kind of told them what we were all about. So, if any of you guys from that NIS race Saturday morning are in here, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thanks for talking to me about the podcast. That was just really cool. It was really neat, and it was Jordan Sharplin. So, and
see it.
I didn't ask him where he's from, but he's like either Australian or New Zealand. Like he's one of those like area people. I didn't know if he was a Kiwi or just from Australia, but we have a worldwide reach, which is pretty cool.
There we go.
I did
Global.
look at the analytics earlier, and I took a screenshot. So now you got me wondering. Oh, I didn't fucking save it. I was
That's
looking
right.
at all the countries that we've been playing, and I was actually kind of surprised by a couple
cool.
of them. But yeah, So
we should learn all the languages for all the ones in there, and then to have those be it.
Yes.
I gotta tell you, it's pretty risky business advertising the podcast in NIS because the Thursday night one, I advertised the podcast and I ended up wrecking everybody. So if we get some review tanks this week,
Good
So-
lordy.
81% of listeners are in the US.
yeah,
Ooh. Worldwide, baby.
8% are in Germany. 7, the UK. Then we got 1% in Canada, Australia, which is probably who you're talking about, France, Romania,
Ooh.
Spain, and New Zealand. So it could even been New Zealand there.
it might have. I wouldn't be surprised if that was him.
Yep,
There you go.
I can't tell the difference between Australian and New Zealand folks by their voice.
Wow,
Yeah.
Nerag's
One of
never
them's
listening
really good
again. So.
drivers.
I know. I'm sorry. That's probably super offensive, but I just can't. New Zealand. We'll go with that. He's a Kiwi.
Very good. Well,
Isn't that
Thank you.
SVG? Isn't SVG a Kiwi?
yeah,
Yeah.
he is. He
Yeah.
is.
There you go.
So, but yeah, thank you all to all of our listeners, new and old. We appreciate y'all.
Mhm.
But speaking of OnlyFans, we have a couple this week. One is an update from a Leroy question in regards to who we would like to see in the Project 91 car next. Obviously, we just had SVG win, and I would have said Danny Ricciardo, but obviously that is not possible anymore now that he's back in a little busy with F1 now. But I don't know. Danny Rick was always my guy. I'll let y'all go and I'll think about mine. But who for the next race would you like to see in there?
Supercars guy again. I want to beat him this time though, so they can stop the conversation of any guys in the top 10 can come here and do what I just did.
Yeah, I know.
From SVG. Yeah, just anybody from the supercars I think would be cool to see, just because I do think all the stuff we talked about last week is in the car similarity and all that. I think they'd be really competitive and, really surprising people with their finish, just like SVG did. So I'd Scott McLaughlin or whoever else. I don't really know too many guys from the supercars, but somebody from that world again would be neat.
I'd like to see McLaughlin.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a fan of him in Indy, so I'd just like to see him come over, do a race or two, see how he does. But I mean, I'd still love Valentino Rossi.
I'm not high. McLaughlin did do V8 supercars, right? I'm not stupid.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
I would
stupid, but
agree.
not for that, Zach. So.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with Andrew. McLaughlin would, I guess, be my new one because I was going to say someone from Indy. So that fits the bill. Austin, did you have a different one?
Nah, I mean, I think it'd be cool to see Scotty in there.
Yeah. Well, IndyCar has like 3 races total during their year, so you'll have time to do that. And our final OnlyFans is from Chris, and this is, I think, a really good one. I don't think we've talked about it quite a lot, but what is each of our favorite driver, and how do we get to becoming a fan of them? I guess I can start.
Or an
obviously,
active driver.
Yeah. We'll say active. So I'm obviously a Chase Elliott fan, first and foremost.
Bandwagon.
No, I will explain how I became a Chase Elliott fan. So I grew up a Jeff Gordon fan since like 2003. I remember in 3rd grade watching a race at a Myrtle Beach restaurant, and I saw the Jeff Gordon Rainbow Warrior car, and was like, I like that, and was Jeff fan. And obviously he retired, and Chase took over for him, so naturally became a Chase Elliott fan, and that is where we are today. Also just Hendrick in general. So, Chase number one.
So absolutely nothing to do with Chase Elliott.
What year did you watch that you liked Jeff Gordon's car?
2003. I knew nothing about NASCAR, and it was a random
Rainbow Warriors.
I think it was the flame car then. Yeah,
was that Flames?
That's Flames.
Fully remember. Whatever.
You like the Flamers. We got it.
I like I like that DuPont car.
It was a good looking car. I got it. I forgot how good looking that car is.
I mean, I was a Gordon fan. I turned the race on. I mean, I was like 7, and this was back in 94, I think. And I saw Jeff Gordon. And I was I like that car. So kind of the same thing, but it was the Rainbow Warriors then. So,
Well, Andrew,
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, like I said, I was a Gordon fan when he retired. It was kind of like, fuck. I didn't really like anybody. I watched some races here and there, and I kind of got drawn to Tyler Reddick's driving style. I really like the guy that's going to go up, test the wall, ride the wall, and just drive the fuck out of a car. And Tyler Reddick can do that. So I
Yeah.
honestly think he's one of the best drivers, if not the best driver in the field.
Very good.
Zach?
Oh, I guess I'll go because Drake's not here. Well, my answer's pretty simple. I don't know if it's going to show up. It's all fuzzy. Kyle Busch.
He likes
Kyle
M&Ms.
Busch. That's right, M&M's, the red one. No, the green one. Kyle Busch. I've always been a fan of his. Well, when I say always, I always knew about NASCAR in the early 2000s. That's kind of why I'm going back and watching the old races. Like I knew about it, but I never really paid attention to it too much. I liked Tony Stewart back in the day just because he was a sassy son of a gun, and he was really good. And then I kind of went away from NASCAR for a while, and then I probably got back into it 2013, 2014, and just sort of gravitated towards Kyle just because he was a son of a bitch, but he knew how to drive the car. I don't know. I find that fun. Like there's 7,000 Kyle Busch memes for reasons because the guy's funny and entertaining and divisive. I like somebody who's controversial. I don't always agree with everything Kyle did, but he's funny and he makes me laugh. I always laugh after a Kyle Busch interview for sure. So, he can wheel a car and he's sassy.
Yeah.
Sassy he is. Drake?
I have a few drivers I really like. Michael McDowell, obviously a big one. Michael was when I was like kind of starting to get back into NASCAR and like late high school, early college, didn't really have much of a driver to follow after Jimmy, because I like Jimmy growing up. Dale Jarrett was my favorite for sure, but after Jimmy was kind of rolling out, I didn't really have a driver. And one of my good friends from school found out his dad owned Front Row Motorsport, which was pretty cool. And I knew Michael was like their most long-standing driver, still is. So quickly, kind of started following him, which is cool. And I always like having the underdogs too. So that Daytona 500 victory was like the best moment ever for me as a NASCAR fan in recent history. Just seeing like an underdog driver, pulling out a win like that. Second is Corey LaJoie. I actually, for a little bit, really didn't like Corey LaJoie for whatever reason, but didn't like him. And then shortly thereafter, just kind of like, I forgot why I didn't like him, so I just didn't really care about him. Then I started listening to the Stacking Pennies podcast. It was really cool to hear about how he came up through the sport. Just very much like, on his own kind of way. And like, that's the whole idea of stacking pennies, is that concept. So that was, cool to hear about that. I like the Hendrick guys too a little bit, but not really for any particular reason, just because it's like, well, a lot of big names, like, obviously Jimmy and them running, for that team. But, I thought that was kind of my quick rundown on my few of my drivers.
Very good. So wide-ranging fandoms on this podcast, but yeah, just brief history where we all came from. So thank you for submitting our OnlyFans this week. Be sure to shoot us an email, or you can even DM us on Twitter, and we'll be sure to get your questions on air. Any final thoughts, any betting tips for New Hampshire before we bounce?
No, I'm holding off on betting right now with the rain coming in. Starting lineup, all that's going to be weird. It's kind of just wait and see on this one. Watch at Picks by Fitz.
All right. Stuff. There you go. Well, with that, we will end the night. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at the GWC Pod. Sub to our YouTube